Hello, movie friends. Welcome to There Will Be Movie Reviews. I'm your host, Ryan Holmes. And today with me, I have, once again, for the fourth time, geez, my father, Chris Holmes.
Hey Ryan, how are you?
Good.
Good to
Uh,
be here.
yes, it is. You're starting to become sort of like a Andy Richter on my show, or maybe like a Robin from Howard Stern, maybe. You'd be like that
I
for a
don't know
second.
about that.
Be one of those recurring characters, or maybe like Norm Macdonald on Conan. He was on there a lot, right?
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was.
Hmm.
He was a little bit. I saw seen some videos of him just like saving interviews that are like going downhill, and just makes one of his hilarious comedic one of his jokes, and just saves the interview completely. So who
Yeah,
knows?
Norm
Yeah,
Macdonald's awesome.
yeah. Yeah, but all right, yeah. So today we're gonna be discussing one. I know this is a your pretty. I don't know if it is your favorite movie, but one of your favorite movies or all-time favorite movies. And you mentioned to me that you said, you know what, let's talk about this movie because you haven't seen it before, and you know it's one of my favorites. So I was like, all right, let's discuss it. So we're gonna be talking about the movie Heat, 1995. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Yeah, it's a good one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is one of my favorites. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say that it's my favorite because it
Yeah.
kind of changes here and there, but yeah, it's definitely up there, top five,
That is
I would
yeah,
say.
yeah, totally true. Yeah. It was definitely I definitely understood why you liked it so much. It's very I feel it is a very underrated movie too, no Oscar nominations whatsoever uh but starring like some great actors and actresses, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But before we begin, I have the movie news to do today, so let's get into it. So first off, Robert Downey Sr. dies at the age of 85, sadly. Did you
Mm.
see any of Robert Downey Sr.'s films?
No, I didn't even know he was
Oh,
enter
really?
yeah, in the
He was
entertainment
like, oh
business.
yes, he was like kind of a um what's the word, like uh abstract filmmaker, I guess. He was very low budget, but he kind of a lot of his films are known as cult classics, and Robert Downey Jr. starred in a lot of his films too.
Oh,
Yeah, and like as a young age when he was in his like early teens or late teens, early 20s. um but yeah, I didn't even
anything
know
I'd
it's
know?
I don't think so. I don't
Oh, have you seen any of them?
see
The
here.
Robert
I have
Robert
not.
Downey.
He was in Boogie Nights though.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
And yeah, and he made a movie called Putney Swope, I think it's called, or in a movie called Pound. Have you heard of that?
No.
No, yeah. They're very low budget and like yeah, just not popular, sort of like David Lynch kind of director or similar, not style, but like um how respected, I guess, or how popular he is in the media, I guess. But yeah, and then yeah, next up, Val Kilmer. Speaking of an actor, speaking of Val Kilmer for this movie discussion, as he's in Heat, Val Kilmer, he's making a documentary about himself, and the trailer was just released, and it's going to be on Amazon Prime. You see that?
No, I didn't. No.
He's
I heard he's
pretty.
pretty rough now though. Like he's
Oh,
like
he got throat cancer. Did you know that?
no, I know that he's been out of the spotlight for a while. Maybe I did know that, but yeah, okay.
He's going to be in the next
Yeah,
Top Gun movie, the Top Gun Maverick. It's coming out.
okay.
But he's yeah, I don't know if you've heard him. He's like, yeah, he's rough. He's got like his voice is like all like it's like when one of those heavy smokers, and he has like the little tube in his throat, and he like has that really
Oh,
really raspy voice. Like it's bad. It's like
does he have
Roger.
the box?
Yes, he
Like,
has the box. Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
He
that's more
when he
than
talks,
raspy
like,
then. It's like
yeah,
that electronic. Oh
yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. Do you think you'll see that documentary?
Oh, likely. Yeah.
You think
Where's
so?
it? Who's producing it? Netflix or
No,
or
at
Prime?
Prime Video.
Prime,
Video.
yeah, for sure. I'll see it then.
I'll
Yeah.
see it. I'll see it because it could be like he's making it's about himself, and so it's just like
Mm,
I don't know. It could be like something like that I'm Still Here, that Joaquin Phoenix movie or
yeah.
documentary that he did, something like that. That's just like just entertainment, I guess, in that way, but more, yeah,
What
yeah.
causes these actors to go all like Gary Busey crazy?
I don't know. It's that fame that's just crazy. Like
I
it's
don't
like
know.
too
Some
much.
people can handle it, and then some of them seem to like Mickey Rourke too. The guy's like a train wreck, and geez.
Are you kidding? There's so many. There's so many that you
Yeah.
can talk that giving examples for. Just it depends. I mean, some people can't handle it that well. Yeah. Also, another thing in the news: Richard Donner
Yeah.
died at the age of 91. He was. I enjoyed the Goonies and
Hmm.
what else did he do? I think
No,
he
he's
did.
definitely respected. Superman, a
Yes,
bunch of
yes,
Superman
Superman. Yeah.
movies. Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm trying to think of what else he did. Um,
he did lots of stuff.
he did. Yeah, the Goonies, Lethal Weapon. He did all the
Oh,
Lethal
right.
Weapon
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was good for the sequels too, right? Like he wouldn't
yeah,
just do the first and then bail. He's
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He did and then he did Superman 2, and
Hmm.
yeah, he did Scrooge. Scrooge, he did Scrooge,
Mm,
the Bill Murray. He also
yeah.
directed that one too. So yeah, like obviously a very well-respected actor, very popular films that he's directed or director. Sorry, yeah, but
Right.
yeah, it's too bad. He was a I'm sure, yeah, very well respected, but yeah. Also in the movie news, Chris Pratt. Did you see the Tomorrow War, that
No.
action movie? Oh, so Chris Pratt is in talks to return for the Tomorrow War sequel.
Mm,
It was just released on Amazon Prime, on Prime Video, and I heard mixed reviews for it. Personally, I have no intention of seeing it. It doesn't look interesting at all. It's like some like apocalypse, like it's like the Expendables, the Expendables with like
yeah.
Sylvester Stallone, yeah, mixed with, and
That
then
ensemble. Yeah.
yeah, with a bunch of, yeah, and then where it's just like the end of the world, or I'm pretty sure, so apocalypse, and they're like a big team that just like faces them off. So like not crazy.
Mm.
I'm not too
What's
into
he worth now? He's making movies all over the place, and he's
Chris
in big
Pratt.
roles too. Yeah.
Yes, he
Geez,
is. Yeah, it's funny because like
he's got to be through the
he was
charts
like
in terms
you
of
would have never thought, like maybe like 10 years ago, and he's in Parks and Rec,
yeah.
you would have never
Right.
thought he'd be this huge action star.
Yeah.
It's funny because he's like a very comedic actor too. He's like now he's just in like really serious like roles, like action roles, whereas like it's funny. I find it
Yeah,
so
he was
weird.
great in Moneyball too. It's like that's one of my favorite performances of his because he's like that scared guy, and then he's in Zero Dark 30 too, where he's kind of the opposite kind of character. Like,
Yeah.
just yeah, very, very apex.
Yeah, he was in. Yeah, now he's just that perfect like lead actor. That's a decent actor but people still love to watch. I think it's like Mark Wahlberg. I feel he's not he's
Yeah,
not he's not a great actor, but like people will still love watching his movies. Like, and he brings in a ton of money, and I think that's with Chris Pratt. So it's the same thing. And
Mark
now
Wahlberg's good.
he is a good actor. Yeah, and I'm sure. Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
I know it's hard for some people to say, I think, but he is good. He's
Yeah.
good. Mm.
Yeah, and even Chris Pratt is good too.
Oh yeah, for
He's
sure.
hilarious in Parks and Rec. I can't ignore that.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Andy, right?
Andy Dwyer. Yeah, yeah. All right, well that's it for the movie news. But yeah, let's discuss Heat,
Right.
1995. So Heat stars Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, Ashley Judd, John Voight, Tom Sizemore, Diane Venora, Ted Levine, Natalie Portman, and William Fichtner. And it was also written and directed by Michael Mann. And the film is about a group of professional bank robbers start to feel the heat from police when they unknowingly leave a clue at their last heist. So,
So yeah,
Michael,
you got not only that, it's got Jeremy Piven, Tone Loc, Henry Rollins is in it, and Danny Trejo as
yeah,
well. So
I
like
know.
cast is huge. And did you mention Hank Azaria?
Oh, Hank Azaria, yeah, I completely. It
Like it's
was,
crazy. Yeah,
yeah,
the
it was.
cast is insane actually.
I tried just doing the main like people that are in it the most, like just like writing down.
Even Tone Loc has a little spot in it.
Yeah, yeah, because I was just thinking of like the main actors and actresses that were in it, and so I wanted to uh just point at them. But there's so many other actors and actresses
Yeah.
that are in this that just it's crazy. And I wonder like what is it that what do you think like drove them to all like, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, Al Pacino, like all these great actors uh join his join this cast and be a part of this movie. Like,
I don't know. I would think it would be. I don't know exactly, but I think it would be the script that would draw you in, and like just being able to describe the movie itself. It's like
mhm.
I don't know, just for the time that it was filmed in, would have been it would have been something that would draw the attention of actors, and you know that it would be a good movie and a big movie.
I feel like sometimes like you hear one actor's in it, then like another actor. So like you say like
Maybe.
yeah, like Robert De Niro. I tell Al Pacino, oh yeah, Robert De Niro's in this. So they'd be like, oh okay, yeah, sure. Or Val Kilmer.
Yeah, maybe just the combination of Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and it's going to attract all the other actors to it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I think the way the way this film is set and probably such an interesting in probably a fun film to make. I've heard plenty of things of Al Pacino and Robert De Niro saying this is like one of the most enjoyable films making, especially
Hmm.
for example, just like the scene, the coffee shop scene. They talk about there's a fact of how they both like were just anticipating like crazy just to film
Oh
that
yeah.
scene because it's such an important scene of the film. I think I thought too, but yeah, it is an exciting film. And so I watched this for the first time. So I'm kind of me telling me doing this podcast, it'll be a lot of explaining about how um just like my first thoughts are obviously most of the films before I've seen multiple times. So
Oh, okay.
one of the things was I was it was completely opposite of what I expected it to be, like completely opposite. The tone of the film is so different than what I've seen from any other movie I've ever seen in my entire life. It's and it because what I thought it would be is just this regular, I've seen bank heist movies before or heist movies before multiple times, and but this film its pacing is so not bad, but it's just so different than what any other film I've seen is. It goes from like crazy heist scene, then just a calm, low scene, then back up, it ramps it back up and then back down and back up. And that's what's so entertaining about it too, I think.
Yeah, I think that's why this movie's kind of I don't know if special is the word, but like yeah, I think it's why I like it so much is like I grew up in the 80s, and what you were exposed to it's a Michael Mann film, so
Yeah.
like, and who did Miami Vice, and then so growing up in the 80s you were exposed to different TV shows, and like there was always the hour-long dramas were in the 80s, like it was huge for that, right? And then the sitcoms started to come along towards the end of that, but what you would see is things like Magnum PI and the A Team, Dukes of Hazzard, and all of these types of shows, and any of the crime type shows back then. The the cops would always win in the end, or it was always the good guys, whereas as soon as Miami Vice came along, it had like a really different tone to it. Not only was it incorporating music into it, which like I was into that type of music at the
Yeah.
time, it was incorporating all of that into the TV show, and then it had like this feel to it. So it's not like every episode ends happy. In fact, most of them don't, or you would be surprised all the time. And then, there's different things that would happen to the characters throughout the show. And they even killed off some of the main characters towards the end of the series, which is,
Mm.
like, which was surprising and different and just extremely different back then. So you were drawn to these types of things just for that reason alone. And then that sort of carried through into Heat. And then that's kind of one of the reasons why I just like it so much. It's definitely nostalgic for me. And, you know, that's, you know, that's one of the reasons that I rate it up there, because like if you go through it, if you comb through it, then, you know, there's definitely flaws in it and things that don't make sense and things that are, you know, pretty
A little
unrealistic.
cheesy, or yeah.
Yeah, a little cheesy and unrealistic, but you forgive them because of
How cool
just,
and just
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, that's totally true. And that kind of goes for me sometimes when I'm watching Marvel films. You wouldn't agree with me on this, but like when also it's set in like I am a child. I'm at the perfect age. I was at the perfect age when I watched those Marvel films as a child. So you ignore all those flaws in that,
Right.
and so even now I kind of am biased towards Marvel movies too, even though I know there are plenty of flaws and things and plot points that don't make any sense within the movies, but I still enjoy watching them because it's like eye
Yeah.
candy, you know.
Yeah. Or yeah,
A,
it's just like, yeah, you just, yeah, you're tied to it emotionally on a
yes,
different level,
yeah,
which is
and
yeah, which is hard to do. And like kudos to the, you know, the producers and directors and actors
yeah,
for being able to achieve that.
yeah, and along the lines of how you're talking about just uh talking about Miami Vice and the comparison of how, you know, characters, you know, it's not always the good guys that win. And in this film, obviously the good guy does win, but it was also, I was thinking when I was watching this of how just even though Robert De Niro was a villain, you still love him within this film. His character is so enjoyable to watch and a lot of fun. And especially just the very first scene, the first heist scene, just it
Yeah.
Michael Mann's direction of that scene is perfect. Um it just looks so realistic and it's so cool to watch, just them preparing and getting ready, and it's smart too, the way it's planned out also.
Yeah, the way that it's set up, you know, he's stealing the ambulance and just does it quietly and like, you know, without any, yeah, without any intervention or anything like that. And, you know, him getting off the subway and just like that whole mood, you know, it's just like very slow and methodical. And
Mhm.
yeah, and then, yeah, then you jump into this high intensity action sequence that's just, yeah, it's awesome too. And there's no, you know, there's no part of it where you're not able to suspend disbelief on it.
Oh, totally, yeah. And like notice watching like these because there's a few sort of shootout scenes within the film
Mm,
too. And I noticed, I don't know about you, but I noticed there are the scenes felt so different, the shootout scenes, than any other shootout scene I've seen in any other movie.
yeah,
Is that right? Like you not
well,
like
it's definitely different than a Star Wars shootout scene.
I know, but
Yeah,
even like other shootout scenes in other movies, like I like just like in regular say LA, like if you watch some, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like where they've, I don't know, any like CSI. I'm trying to,
yeah, and I think the reason that you can pull that off, like you're talking about the shootout scene after the bank heist when you know, they're in the streets there and like
Mhm.
shooting at each other. Yeah, it's like there's a difference between the cops and you know, the crew, the in terms of like the firepower that they've got. Like, so the weapons are completely different, right? Like,
Mhm.
so you've got like Al Pacino shooting and he's like shooting one at a time, and then Val Kilmer's got like that right, you know, with
AR,
an
I think,
assault
yeah.
rifle, and then Val Kilmer's got a machine gun that's just like blasting away and cutting holes right through police cars and yeah,
Yeah.
just tearing the streets apart.
I heard something because I heard something interesting, a fact, just like how they instead of like dubbing the gunshots during the bank robbery shootout, Michael Mann had like microphones carefully placed around the set so that the audio
Mm,
could be captured live. And then this added to the impact of the scene because it sounded like no other gunfight shown on screen. And that's um
yeah,
it's that I noticed like right away, like just the sound of the gun just sounded so much more realistic and loud and just so loud and
right. Well, if you ever watch this movie with other people sleeping in the house and it gets to that scene, you gotta like jump for the remote to turn the volume down
Yeah,
because
I
this is like
know.
it's about 10 times louder than the
It's
rest of the movie.
it's crazy loud, yeah. And
Yeah.
I was thinking because obviously this is like the first film that Robert De Niro and Al Pacino did, and you think they got it perfectly, or you think it was a good first film for them to do, or like a good
Oh
film?
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't see anything wrong with it, and it's um not a huge departure from the type of movies that they are already doing or have done and are known for. So yeah, no, it was good. It was
yeah.
good. It must have been comfortable for them to work together for that.
Because I was also thinking like, could this have just been like a film they chose to do because it just enjoyed the script, and their rules aren't that like uh what's the word, like hard to act in. It's not a very complex like preparation worthy role, I wouldn't say. It's no like Robert De Niro going out and like doing Raging Bull and like having to like practice like boxing for like 3 months, and or
No, I see what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
or Pacino like going to Cuba and like like meeting up with other gangsters to
Hmm.
for preparation for Scarface. But like this film, obviously, I felt like probably was a little bit easier for them to do, and they just had a lot of fun acting on that because that's the reason they do the job, is because they enjoy it so much. And so
Hmm.
that's like Samuel Jackson. He chooses his roles because he just loves acting. So he sees a fun role to do, like Mace Windu or uh, Nick Fury, and because he just enjoys acting, and it's an easy role, even if the script might not be the greatest. But like, obviously, this script is great. But I wonder if I was curious to think like maybe they chose this just because it's one of those easy roles to play, and they can just have all the freedom to do what they want with that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they're given a lot of latitude in terms of like how they could play the parts. But yeah, like the script is tight, and it's like you're right. It's like it's somewhat obvious. So yeah, they probably enjoyed doing this because it's yeah, be rewarding and at the same time, I'm guessing relatively easy to plan.
Yeah, the plot is it's pretty simple. I think it's just following around. It's kind of a cop and robber scenario. Just they're chasing yeah, cops and robbers in a way, but it does get more intense, and yeah, just it gets more intense and serious through as the film goes on. And characters are dealing with much more higher circumstances, and just including an example like Al Pacino having to deal with his stepdaughter, like cutting herself in the bathtub, and little things like
Mhm.
that, personal things I noticed that happen along the way that are involved. While they're well both Robert De Niro and Al Pacino are trying to deal with not the cops, and then yeah, Al Pacino with um, the bank robbers, and then Robert De Niro with the police. And so, but I was just thinking like that's kind of the flow of the film, is it's them dealing with these, trying to deal with each other, and then other things getting in the way, I feel.
Yeah, it's not just like Al Pacino's trying to solve a crime and like collecting clues and things like that. Like yeah, there's like a definite emotional element to it, and he's got his current wife to deal with. He's got work, and his stepdaughter. Yeah, it's and then it's the same with Robert De Niro. He's reluctantly gets into a relationship, but at the same time he wants to be in one. You can sort
Hmm.
of see that, right? Like
At the dinner
he's tried
table when
tries to be cold, but towards Amy Brenneman, who's
yeah,
another big actor that was in this.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but at the same time, he he doesn't want to do this forever, and he wants to move on, and that's his hope. And then that's sort of what draws you in and makes you kind of rooting for him, because like he's trying to get somewhere. He's trying to, he wants to leave the country and go live in Australia or wherever, somewhere else, and settle down and put everything behind him. But he just needs to get through a couple more of these scores, I guess, and then
hmm
and then he's home free. And then I guess for that, reason alone, you're kind of rooting for him to get through that and get to the other side. But of course, that doesn't happen.
Because instead of where most robbers want to, or most criminals want to, or robbers want to, uh, they do it to get money. He's doing it instead to just finally be able to, if he gets this done, then he can be out of this business and out of this group that is just, kind of pulling him down, or making just like, just causing more problems for him. Not only characters like him causing other policemen to die, like in the very first scene, and then also his own friends like Val Kilmer have to leave, and then another character, another one of the robbers, a guy from Saving Private Ryan, him dying too.
Oh, Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it also makes you debate on whether, because even Al Pacino's lifestyle is not the greatest either. He's constantly, he is his wife is cheating on him, or his wife or cheats on him, and then also she's just, she thinks that he's just cold to her, and doesn't, is like not emotionally available, and also, well, at the same time he's dealing with seeing just like people like murders all the time, and just dead bodies everywhere, and people dying, and trying to figure out this Robert De Niro, where like how to get to those guys, and it doesn't he's having so much trouble, and then he has to deal with other things too, and it makes you debate on whether, or it kind of see the comparison between the two of being a robber or a policeman.
Yeah, and like their lifestyles are both very intense and not easy, and they're just it's it's a tough situation for them for sure.
Totally.
And like one of the things that I was gonna say is like you see Robert De Niro, he almost like has to do this because he doesn't want to be in the position, Dennis Haysbert is in this movie too, and you see him, he's just been released from prison, he's becomes the short order cook, and he's got his salary sort of taken from him, like the manager there at the restaurant is taking a cut of his salary, and he's treated poorly, and like he has no power whatsoever, he's just trying to get by, and that's exactly what Robert De Niro doesn't want. And then you can see Dennis Haysbert actually gets fed up and becomes part of the crew when Danny Trejo sort of bails on them.
And again, there's a lot of, it's very corrupt, obviously, so there's a lot of betrayal, and there's a lot of backstabbing each other's characters,
a lot
and
of betrayal.
And that's kind of a part of, that's just more, I feel that's more realistic though too at times, because that it's people like chicken out. It's a tough business and world to be in, so like I can imagine people just leaving as quickly as they can, like Danny Trejo's character and Val Kilmer's character, because they don't want to be a part of that. They don't want to be a part of this, this world that they're in, that's just full of violence and just like stress.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because the characters aren't just one dimensional. Like and I guess that just goes back to the Miami Vice thing. Like they've got multiple elements of their personality that they have to deal with. You're not just like a bad guy or a good guy, and then that's all you do, and then that's all you see. You're seeing like the other elements of their life, and how they're trying to work their personal life along with the this extraordinary circumstance that they're put under, in terms of like either committing these crimes or trying to put the bad guys behind bars.
Yeah, totally. And I think that it just makes it more realistic, because you see the characters, so much betrayal that and corruption that is within the film, and that goes for it seems like a common thing that would happen within that. Obviously it's crazy, and it's terrible that it happens, whereas because in most, I feel, robber films, it's a group of people that just stick together for, even though when it doesn't make any sense, the stress and the toll that's going on in their life. And you see other characters, Val Kilmer, I noticed this kind of trend in this pattern within the film of how a lot of characters, there's each character, main character, is dealing with also uh problems outside their life too. And I mentioned it at the beginning, not only, yeah, so De Niro and Pacino and even, yeah, Val Kilmer's character are all having problems at home, and
Yeah, and
with
it's
their love
all
interest too. Yeah.
right, and all that stuff is putting like serious chinks in the armor of like this thing that they're trying to be this tight crew that's like
Hmm.
very disciplined and almost unpenetrable by the police and yeah, you've got like the relationships that you're trying to manage at home, and with Val Kilmer with Ashley Judd and trying to manage that whole situation. And then
Hmm.
she's gets fed up, and he's got a gambling addiction which is
Yeah.
causing issues. And yeah, yeah, and then she's trying to make up for it, and she's obviously looking for she's looking for a certain type of high-end lifestyle, and so she's supplementing that with um, by almost prostituting herself. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
it's
It's not
interesting.
pretty.
There's
It's not. Yeah. It's like
No, it's not pretty. It's just interesting, and then that's how you get drawn into it too, because you're like, your mind's constantly racing as to
mhm.
how everyone's managing all these relationships and all everything that's going on, and how they're going to get through it, and if they can get through it, and at what point is it going to become like a big issue, and the script does a great job, like Michael Mann does a great job of tying everything together.
Yes, I did notice that, and I noticed, yeah, it was, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I did want to talk about that coffee shop scene though, because I don't know if you know that, like, that's one of the most iconic just dialogue between two characters, like in the last, like, probably 30 years or something like that, because
Right.
it's, yeah, just that discussion, that parallel discussion of both their what they want to do and what they're after and what they are trying to do. And uh they're not going to stop for each other. But I want to hear your input kind of on that scene though.
Uh, yeah, it's so what I've heard before, and I don't know if this is true or not, is that at the time there was like some sort of animosity between our Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, and that the scene is actually shot without the two of them actually appearing together. So in other words, like there's shots from behind where you see the back of either De Niro's head or Al Pacino's head,
Yeah.
but you never see like a side view where
Yeah.
it's got both of them together. And I don't know whether that's true or not. It's just something that I have heard, but I don't know if you've looked into that at all or.
I did, yes. I heard the opposite. I heard that like Al Pacino revealed that the scene in the restaurant, or yeah, so the coffee shop scene sold Robert De Niro on the idea of making the movie. So, and then Al Pacino and Michael Mann later admitted that they couldn't wait to shoot that one scene. That's what I heard from it too. I mean, there was, because I was thinking, like, I heard multiple things. Like, did they not like each other, you think, or like?
That's just what I had heard before. And like, I had, the first couple of times that I had seen the movie, I had, I wasn't looking out for that and I didn't really notice it. But then someone mentioned that to me. And then the next time that I watched it and watched that scene in particular, I noticed that they're really not
Yeah.
necessarily in the same scene together. It could have been anyone, like, because it's just the back of their heads that you're seeing for
Yeah.
each of the shots. So.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was thinking, yeah, because I also heard, like, yeah, I heard like that De Niro like felt that he also felt like the scene should not be rehearsed, so that the unfamiliarity between the two characters would seem more genuine. And then they shot the scene with no practice rehearsal. So I would assume that that means probably that they were together when they filmed it, but I don't know, like, because they do that with a lot of movies though. They film, like, you'll see actors talking to somebody, but they're just talking to, like, somebody maybe having the script in their hand that's not even that actor.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Definitely. Yeah.
Would
So, yeah, to be honest, I don't really know what the truth is behind that. I like to think that they were amicable and sat
yeah,
together
so do
and
I.
acted
Yeah.
off. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, totally. It's it is but it is a good scene though. I do it
Yeah.
is obviously a good scene.
Yeah. And then, yeah, leading up to that, they got a song by that Moby redid that was actually like originally a Joy Division song. And
Mm,
while he's driving along the
yes,
highway there, it's like a really cool sequence with a good song
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
associated with it. That's
Hmm.
yeah, it like sort of brings out that emotion of like how serious the things are at this point.
Hmm. Yeah. What did you think about? I wanted to ask you because I didn't look anything up after I watched this. Like I didn't want to. I just wanted to hear like kind of your point of view. Like I researched just for the podcast, but I didn't look up like maybe like what the meaning of like certain uh characters meant or meanings, and I just kind of interpreted myself. So I wanted to hear what do you think that last scene where De Niro and Pacino kind of grab hands together and they just like yeah they kind of shake their hands together at the end of the film when De Niro is lying in kind of the airport like backlot area.
Yeah, I think I mean, that's obviously Robert De Niro conceding that he, Neil, I guess, that he's lost at that point. And then I think based on the coffee shop scene that it's set up, and before that too, uh, they've had a mutual respect for each other in the sense that, they're both professionals and it's like a cat and mouse thing, and they're respectful of the effort that each other's putting into it and that sort of thing. So like
Mhm.
they're adversaries, but and they're in a way they're competing, but yeah, it's sort of him conceding at the end that it's over and it's done, and it's a sign of respect, I would guess.
That's a sign of respect. That's what I thought too. I was thinking like I it was just like I know how you like it's I understand you. It's kind of just like showing each other that they understand. I feel like they understand
Yeah,
each other because they're going through the same struggle with other people causing problems to them, and so it's just their life. Their both lives are just so stressed out by other people causing problems in their lives, and they're just trying to get away from that, and they both are. I feel at times Robert De Niro more, I think, but and so I think that was just a realization, just like I kind of they understood each other. That's what I felt like.
right. And then it's typical of like a Michael Mann type film where it's like this sense of, he's not Al Pacino's not jumping up and down like he's just won. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's at the end of this emotional roller coaster, and like that's just like he can relax a bit now, but like it's an emotionally draining sort of exercise, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. uh
Experience.
yeah, totally. Want to hear some fun facts or
Yes, I do.
all right.
Of
So,
course.
when Kevin Gage was imprisoned for 2 years in 2003, he was universally addressed by fellow inmates and prison guards as Waingro, his character from this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's pretty funny though. In the director's commentary, Michael Mann noted that Al Pacino improvised the line because she's got a great ass. That
Yeah, I
line,
knew
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Hank Azaria Hank Azaria confirmed it, saying that Al Pacino unexpected outburst scared the hell out of me. He just actually terrified me, and that his look of shock was not acting at all. I think that's another thing I'm thinking of Al Pacino just enjoying just having that freedom. This character, it's just so much fun to do whatever he wants, kind of.
Right.
Um, yeah. Also, in early drafts of the script, Vincent Hanna had a cocaine habit, which, according to Al Pacino, explains his bombastic outbursts. Have you heard that before?
No, I hadn't. No.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, the first film. This is the first film to feature Robert De Niro and Al Pacino acting together, which created much hype prior to release. They both starred in The Godfather Part Two, but never shared the
Yeah.
screen together, as the split chronological prevented this. When this movie was finally released, even in its advertising material, promoted the film as a De Niro and Pacino showdown. So they called it, kind of, which is
Mm,
interesting. Yeah, and that's a comparison too. We'll get that into a little bit, but Danny Trejo, who plays a member of the crew, has been an inmate at Folsom prison in real life, just like Neil in the movie.
yeah.
Yeah. Ted Levine was originally offered the part of Waingro, but turned it down because he felt that he was being typecast. He asked to play that part of Bosco instead. Ted Levine's good in this. I loved him in this.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's okay. Yeah, he's good in it. Yeah,
I
yeah.
like him as I like his the way he acts though too. Especially I think his performance in Silence of the Lambs is totally underrated. I feel like because it's overshined. He's kind of in the yes, he is in the shadow of Anthony Hopkins, because everyone freaks out about Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd
So
be a good debate sometime because yeah, like I think it's yeah. Yeah. Mm,
yeah,
I'll
and
save that.
why do you think that? What do you think?
About Anthony Hopkins'
Yeah,
performance in there. Yeah, I thought it was good. I think and the movie is great, obviously. I love that
yeah,
movie, but yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be, I don't know how terribly hard it would be to act. Like it's a very one-dimensional type character, right? Like it's yeah,
yeah. Well, it's yeah, it's a yeah. No, I know what you mean though. It's not
yeah.
like he's not having any character development or anything like that going on.
No, no, no. There's no arc.
Yeah, there's no yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. What else? Mm,
Yeah, Danny Trejo's. Oh yeah, you were saying that has been in prison before,
yeah, he
but
was in prison too, which is
yeah.
I heard that before also, but I don't know what for. Do you know what for?
No, I'm not sure. I know. Yeah, I know. He's got an interesting story though, a really interesting story about like how he was brought on set to do something, and then he just sort of naturally. I can't remember. There was some director that took that got attached to him, and then he actually replaced like a character during the filming of a movie, and whether he
Uh,
was like an extra or like just working on the set or something like that. And then that was sort of, and then after that he was giving, oh, I think it was because he was giving advice from prison perspective, and then
uh,
the director, and then he was trying to coach like another actor on what would happen, and then the director threw the other guy out and brought Danny Trejo in. I
uh,
think that's what happened.
that's funny. Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, no, he's in a bunch of stuff. He's in so much stuff. Like
yeah.
I think he is.
Oh
Like
yeah, he's
he
in like a good taquitos commercials. And
well, he's in like no, he's in like a bunch of like yeah,
no,
he's in
yeah, he's all over the place too. I think he's even been in kids movies and stuff like that. So
yes, he has. Yeah, he's
yeah.
been in like Spy Kids and stuff like or all the Robert Rodriguez movies like From Dusk Till
Mm.
Dawn and like Desperado and yeah, those movies. Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. All right. So is it time for maybe not the debate as much, but the discussion of yeah. So guys, instead of top three things though, we're gonna be today we're gonna be doing in honor of this of Heat and Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, we're gonna be talking about who is the better actor, Robert De Niro or Al Pacino. I have my mind set to one actor. I think my dad does too, but we're gonna talk about this though because it is debatable. I've heard people say many different things. There's no, it's not one sided for me. I think yeah, I know who I'm gonna choose, and I know who my dad's gonna choose. But yeah,
I think
but
you've
let's
mentioned before that yeah, who your
what?
favorite actor is. So
Yes, I
it's
have in
gonna be
this. Actually,
it's
no, I don't know. Yeah, yes, I did.
yeah,
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. I did when we were talking about another one. But yeah,
yeah.
obviously, I'm a much bigger fan of Robert De Niro, I think. But and so are you.
Yeah, I think he has the ability. I think Al Pacino's a great actor. I think Robert De Niro has the ability to choose a better script than Al Pacino does. Like,
You would think so. Why do you think that? Like,
I think I'm trying to think of movies that he made a mistake with, like that, weren't good. Like, what's a Robert De Niro movie that wasn't great or wasn't good?
uh
Like, even when he's in Meet the Parents, like the performance is
yeah,
awesome. Like,
yeah,
he's totally convincing as the dad, and he's hilarious, right? Like,
yeah,
he's
he
doing
is. Yes,
comedy,
he is,
he's
yeah.
doing gangster movies. He's great
Even
in
yeah, even
Carlito's
like
Way all the way through to Casino, and like, yeah,
even yeah
it's just,
even analyze
yeah,
that
right.
or this,
Another
yeah,
comedy that he's great
yeah,
at. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's a pretty funny role.
yeah,
um
yeah. And he pulls off that comedic aspect perfectly. Oh,
yes, and you see that in King of Comedy. That's another one that's like, yeah, it's both. It's just like he's just a total loser in that, and he does that perfectly in the King of Comedy. Even Taxi Driver, he's a bit of a loser. Like, yeah, but I talked about both of those films in the
probably
last
Jerry
podcast.
Lewis's best movie.
Yeah, but like Al Pacino, I don't think he's chosen too many bad roles. It's for a different, because people like, I know you might think Dick Tracy, like that's a movie that's. Have you seen
Hmm.
that?
Yeah, I have seen it with
You don't
what?
you don't like it, right?
No.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
I've heard people love
with
that
Warren
movie.
Beatty.
It was nominated, yeah, it was nominated for a ton of Oscars,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, I don't know. That's like having less and less
he
meaning
was
or
nominated for
importance
an
to
Oscar
me.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm trying to see. I know, yeah, it's a weird movie though, Dick Tracy, with all the weird faces and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of that too much.
What'd you think about him and Jack and Jill?
Al Pacino and Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
I think that was, yeah, no, I
Or
didn't.
Geely?
Geely. Oh yeah, he's in Geely too. But like De Niro's had some. Uh, Pacino has been nominated for a
Oh.
Razzie. Do you know that? Do you know what those
Has
are?
he?
Or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, of course.
yeah, he has for Geely. I'm pretty sure, like best supporting uh actor. Uh De
No, and he
Niro.
was in Righteous Kill, which is stupid.
Yeah,
But he
Righteous
is great.
Kill.
Yeah, I'm just going through his list here. Like, stuff that he is great in is like Any Given Sunday. He was awesome in that. And it just, yeah, no, there's no question he's a great actor. But yeah,
Yes,
I think that's the difference between the two of them. Like, one of the main differences, like De Niro's ability to do comedic roles as well as being able to choose a script. Um,
yes,
yeah,
and I also, but I do think, yeah, because I like De Niro better just because, yeah, he has had much better success with roles. But there's also, there have been times when De Niro like has been Al Pacino has not chosen that role instead for, and De Niro's gotten that role instead. Like I'm pretty sure the Deer Hunter was an example of that, where Pacino was asked to be De Niro's character, and then De
turned
Niro
it down.
turned it down, and then De Niro
Oh,
got it.
wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's so that's happened a couple times too. But I
Oh, you
know,
got to do that movie at some point.
yeah, I know that's a great one.
Yeah.
It's because I think also De Niro was just he's yeah he has his, you see himself in a few of his roles too, I feel like, or I'm trying to think, yeah, you see his like the same mannerisms, I feel, throughout all of his
Mm.
roles that but you enjoy though too, but it's still so different um from each other film. It's like, so yeah, like when in the King of Comedy he does that I'm trying to think. King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, they're very similar characters, and he does similar character traits, but it's he does them perfectly for that character though. That's the thing that changes it, makes it so perfect though too. And also they're just like, he's just a likable personality too, I feel. I don't know, but like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
And is, yeah. And but Pacino's also, he's actor that does the hothead movies too, roles where he's just likes to yell. And but that's like,
Yeah.
there's also, have you heard like Alec Baldwin talk about like the different versions of Pacino? Like, he's got the like soft voice in the 70s, and then like when he gets
Yeah.
to the 90s, he goes like way up here, like all that
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I noticed that though. Like it's kind of funny because he's, but like also Pacino's brilliant in The Godfather though. You can't ignore that. Like that's like a role that's just,
Oh yeah. No.
and
Yeah.
it
There's
I
no
feel it's,
question.
that's another, I wouldn't say underrated, but like, yeah, again, Marlon Brando is like super, people think that's like the greatest performance of all time is Marlon Brando's in The Godfather. And like Marlon Brando's barely in The Godfather, if I'm gonna be honest. Like
Yeah.
Pacino's in it more. He's like sick in bed like for like half of it. Um
Yeah. How hard is that tact?
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. And but yeah, no, Pacino, but like Pacino, just that one scene where they're in the restaurant in The Godfather, and that scene is just, it's, you could see the just change in like kind of character almost of him changing from becoming that well-respected war veteran to now just the leader of this gang almost, because
Yeah.
there's that scene of just him looking down, like just like staring at the ground. And I think that's like perfectly directed by Francis Ford Coppola too. That's just great acting also. And
Mm,
and Pacino does a perfect job, because that's a role that is just like character arc like crazy, like to the max, like completely changes by the end of the film, and more on in The Godfather Part Two. And that's what's so beautiful about it. Pacino's role, that's like perfect for him, and that's what kind of got him into the spotlight too. You can also talk about Dog Day Afternoon and Serpico, that are both like Dog Day Afternoon is a completely different role than in The Godfather. Also, like Dog Day Afternoon, he's like he's terrible at like controlling the situation, and him and John Cazale are just like messing everything up. They're kind of idiots at times. Like uh, and then in
yeah.
Serpico, he's like this like corrupt cop almost. That's just, yeah, so cool. Just a cool to watch. But
Yeah, no,
yeah,
no, it's like a definitely a wide variety. It's like, yeah, or yeah, no, there's no question he's a good actor. Like I said, the only real difference is I think uh, um, De Niro can do comedy better, and I think he can choose. He's better at choosing scripts.
recently though, I don't know. He's like
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
the
I mean,
grandfather roles
historically, yes. I don't know what he's doing now, but yeah,
right now. Well, that's another thing. Might just enjoy acting, like he just
I
like
guess.
he does just because like who else is in, he did a movie called The War with Grandpa. Are you looking at that?
Yeah, he was okay
And
in The Joker too.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's like, yeah, he's fine.
yeah.
But like that's a movie with uh yeah, like Christopher Walken's in that, and like Eugene Levy. And so like that just means like it's either they're not getting any their offers for roles, or they're just like they
I think
just
he's just old now, and maybe it's not as
you
as clear as he was before.
oh, with choosing roles.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's also
I don't
just
know what
it could
happens. You lose touch, right? Like maybe
yeah, like I know
that's
John
likely what it
Voight's
is.
like I feel that now, because like Christopher Walken's done other movies like that are just terrible too recently. Same with De Niro, like doing like Dirty Grandpa, and uh like yeah, there's a couple of films recently that he's done that are just not good at all. Like it's, yeah, I don't know. Same, but like even Pacino is like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's hard to say. They just, yeah, totally. But I do think De Niro is the better actor uh
yeah,
over Pacino. And I think
yeah,
it's just, but yeah, again,
but not by much. But yeah,
I
but
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
mainly roles like that have just been chosen too. He has a better uh yeah, he has a better list under his belt. He's got
Mhm.
Goodfellas, and he's got that relationship with Scorsese that just he would not be where he was today without Scorsese. You can't.
Yeah,
Would you think like I like like all the his best performances are like,
No, I mean, like, yeah, like he's perfect for Scorsese type roles for sure.
yes.
But I
Hmm.
think if there was no Scorsese, he would still be a great actor. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I wouldn't, I'm not
yeah,
saying he's not a great actor, but like
yeah,
he wouldn't have those Casino or yeah, Casino, you know the rules. Yeah,
yeah,
Casino, Goodfellas, Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, King of Comedy, New York,
right.
New York. Yeah, Irishman. Yeah, Irishman. It's not the greatest, but it's like,
No,
yeah. But still, yeah, he does have many other roles that are from other directors that are great too.
yeah.
But yeah, totally. All right. Is there anything else you wanted to add on Heat or
No, I think you covered it off. Yeah.
yeah?
No, it's just yeah, like yeah, yeah. I just wanted to sort of get across, why I liked it and that sort of thing. I know it's not perfect, but yeah, yeah, it's great
It is great. Yeah.
for me.
It is a good, yeah, it is a good, it was a good watch. I did enjoy it a lot. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Make sure to check it out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm on all those platforms, and also on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, and Spotify. So thank you guys so much for listening. Dad, thank you for doing the podcast. It's a fun, easy discussion.
Yeah, thanks a
Yeah,
lot. It
no
was
trouble at
great
all.
to be here. Always a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yes. All right. Thanks. All right. See you guys.